Hello and welcome to another Kung Fu Panda video. This is like the third one in a row, and before I get into the actual topic, I'd just like to thank everyone who checked out my review of Kung Fu Panda 4, but not only that, my fan script for it, essentially what I would have done for a fourth movie. That video has gotten over 26,000 views. That is absolutely insane. That is my second highest viewed video and is my only one to get 1,000 likes. So thank you so much for that. Today I thought we would keep the Kung Fu Panda train going, and I'm going to talk about why the Chameleon is the worst villain in the franchise. The only one that I have seen people put below her occasionally is Kai, but obviously we all know that number one is either Lord Shen or Tai Lung, depending on people's perspectives. Let's just start off with their demeanor. Okay, Tai Lung, first of all, his design is just impeccable. Okay, he is a snow leopard, which are obviously, gray, and his eyes are this amazing, beautiful, bright yellow. And having Tai Lung be such a dark colored animal, I think is brilliant because, of course, as with all movies, dark kind of represents the evil. And Tai Lung has a terrifying design, especially with his teeth and just the fact that we never see Tai Lung smile. A lot of other villains do, just like when they laugh evilly, they do smile. Tai Lung, I can't actually remember him smiling except for when he makes fun of Po at the end, when he goes, "He's a panda, you're a panda. What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me?" And we know that Tai Lung means business. He spends the whole movie setting out to get to the Jade Palace and become the Dragon Warrior. So even, them setting that up in the beginning of the movie, we know that he is not someone to be, no one's going to mess around with him, right? He's not a joke, which is exactly what he becomes in Kung Fu Panda 4. When Po is fighting the Chameleon, he is literally just going uppercut, left, right. He's just a joker. So yeah, Tai Lung is definitely intimidating, but he has nothing on Lord Shen. But obviously, before we move on to Lord Shen, we need to talk about the thing that I think puts the Chameleon at the bottom, and that is backstory, right? Tai Lung is connected to Shifu. All of the villains are connected to a character in the Kung Fu Panda films, such as, obviously Tai Lung is basically Shifu's son. Okay, Shifu raised him like a son. He found him on his doorstep, and he loved Tai Lung more than anyone could have known. And I mean, he even says it at the end of the movie. He says that he loved Tai Lung too much to see what he was becoming. And that is just such a heartbreaking story, especially since when he says that, even Tai Lung kind of, he actually has a shot at redemption. I worded that poorly. What I mean is that you see, like, in his eyes, that anger just fade away for a moment of, oh shit, I could make this right, I could stop and just accept the fact that someone else is the Dragon Warrior. But of course, he is blinded by his rage. And I think something that a lot of people miss with Tai Lung's backstory is the fact that he didn't always want to be the Dragon Warrior. Shifu is the one who kind of put that idea into his head, because Tai Lung, when he's hitting Shifu with the fire, he literally says, "Who filled my head with dreams?" He's the one who didn't actually want to be the Dragon Warrior. He was like Po. And Shifu is the one who kind of kept telling him, "You will be the Dragon Warrior. I guarantee it. You will be the Dragon Warrior." And because that didn't happen, Tai Lung, of course, just wanted to make his master proud. And that essentially was his character. Tai Lung is just such a complex character in this franchise, and I'm glad to see that he's beginning to get a lot more love. But he's my second favorite, okay? Let's move on to Lord Shen. This motherfucker, man. Where do I even begin? Shen is, in my opinion, the best DreamWorks villain, and honestly, one of the best animated villains in history. Starting off with, of course, his demeanor. His design it's just phenomenal, because first of all, he is a peacock, okay, a white peacock. And peacocks are just such beautiful, elegant, regal creatures. And to make this absolute monster a peacock, I think was such a genius decision. Because, like I said, they are beautiful animals. And Lord Shen is just one of the most evil characters in this franchise because he essentially killed an entire population just because someone foretold that he would be defeated by one of them. He is a monster. And even, certain aspects of his design, I think, just go on to emphasize this, such as his metal claws or the fact that he can literally just create knives and swords. Especially his introductory scene, of him like going to the palace or whatever that was, and essentially just absolutely decimating Master Rhino, who I believe we do see again in Kung Fu Panda 4, because the Chameleon does bring everyone back. And yeah, Lord Shen is someone who I think is the only one who is more complex than Tai Lung. Man, he's just ridiculous. And arguably the most important character in this universe, because he essentially created Po. He basically caused Po to be the one, to become the Dragon Warrior, to become this character that he is now. He went from just an ordinary panda, living a daily job, whatever, to now the defender of the valley, one of the most respected kung fu warriors there is. And it's all because of Lord Shen. As I said earlier, of course, Shen's backstory is very interesting and really is played out beautifully, by the way, with the 2D animation and the material. I forgot what it is. I forgot what it's called. I'm sorry. But basically, of course, he, saw that he'd be defeated by a warrior of black and white, yada, yada, yada. He killed all the pandas. And then his parents exiled him, where he returned many years later. But this was not originally going to be his backstory. There's many people that don't know this, but basically, Shen being a white peacock wasn't just, a random decision. His parents were actually meant to cast him out because he was an albino. That is actually what his origin was supposed to be. It's just that because he was an albino, his parents didn't love him and they cast him out. That's the main difference between what was originally supposed to happen and the final film. In the final film, it is established that Shen's parents did love him. Even the soothsayer said that, sending him away killed them. They basically died of, broken hearts. He is also a very uptight and posh character. Just the way he speaks and all that, like, "Greetings, Panda. We meet at last." And then, when he's been practicing that, and then as soon as he meets Po, Po's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it just feels like the perfect contrast between Po, who is like, fairly comedic, not very serious, to Lord Shen, who basically has little to no, humor in him. I seriously doubt that we will ever see a villain like Lord Shen ever again. I know people love Death from Puss in Boots too, but I'm sorry. Lord Shen is undoubtedly a better character because, of course, that's not Death's fault. He's literally the Grim Reaper. He's just there to, instill fear into the audience. He's just there to be scary. Lord Shen, of course, is an actual character. You're not going to go and give Death this crazy backstory, tie him in with the hero and all of this, make him a tragic character. No. But that's what Lord Shen is. And it was such a shame to see the fact that he didn't even speak in Kung Fu Panda 4. Hell, he didn't even put up a fight. As soon as he stepped through the fucking spirit realm portal thing, he got his powers taken. Like, for fuck's sake, man. Why am I spending so much time on Shen, you might ask? Well, it's because, much like Tai Lung, he wanted power. That is something that all the villains want. That is the only common thing with all of them, is that they all crave power. Tai Lung wanted power to make his master proud. Lord Shen wanted power to hide the pain that he had gone through, you know, due to his parents casting him out and all that. Kai, even though we haven't gotten to him yet, he wanted power just for the sake of having power and for control. He, of course, got to control everyone he took the chi of. Meanwhile, the chameleon just wants power for the sake of it. And the reason why I'm spending so much time on Lord Shen is because the chameleon is very much a ripoff of Lord Shen. She stays in this, high up place in the city. I know it's not the same city, but you know what I mean. She has an army which is way less intimidating than the wolves. I'm sorry, I don't know, the iguanas or Komodo dragons or whatever. They are just not it, okay? They're just there for comedic relief. But Shen's wolves, because you know how they played into the story, that the main wolf was actually going to kill Po, but Lee, went and hit it with the hammer. And that's how the main wolf is like, he's blind in one eye. So that's what happened. But with the chameleon's army, they are literally just there for comedic relief. So yeah, it's pretty shit. And not only that, the way that they go about it, like, oh, we have to get to the chameleon, but the army is, of course, across the city. Hell, they literally rip a line straight from friggin' Kung Fu Panda 2. And I said this in, I think, my spoiler review of Kung Fu Panda 4, that in Kung Fu Panda 2, Mantis says, this place is crawling with wolves. And then in this movie, someone says, this place is crawling with lizards. They literally just took the line. So they were trying to just rip off Lord Shen, and it was so disappointing to see. Now moving on to Kai. Kai, for the longest time, let's be honest, it's been 8 years. Okay, yes, I said 8 years. It's been 8 years since we saw Kai. And basically, Kai from the original trilogy is definitely the worst villain, but that's not saying that he's bad, because we've had two villains with insane backstories so far and ridiculous, complexities to their characters. It was about time we get a character who wanted power just for the sake of having power and control. Because Kai, he really, I think, in a lot of people's eyes, he's going up in the world because of the chameleon. People crapped on Kai a lot. Well, I say that. People still group him with the others. They're like, Kung Fu Panda has the best villains, because Kai is a good villain. He's just not as, amazingly written as the other ones. That doesn't make him bad. He is a good villain because he at least, has a backstory. The chameleon doesn't have that. Kai and the chameleon, I think, are the most similar villains because they both seemingly just want power. But Kai, like I said, he wanted it for the sake of control, because taking people's chi not only gives him power, and I know you probably didn't notice it, but in his fight with Po, at the end, as it begins, when he calls all of the Jade Warriors back, the chi actually makes him larger. So the more chi he gets, he not only gets larger, but he also gets stronger and more powerful. And that is what he wants, because he's also able to control all these masters. 4 members of the Furious 5, Master Shifu, and all of these other villains like Master Chicken, Master Bear, Master Croc, all of them. My God, he gets to just control all of their movements. The chameleon wanted power just because, it wasn't even just, oh, I love being evil. It was just a generic, yeah, I want power. I'll take over the world. Yeah, sure. Why not? It was just so bad. If you hear this weird noise in the background, it's the aircon, but I'm really hoping the mic isn't picking it up. Plus, how can I hate on Kai when he has, I'm So Sorry as his theme song? When unfortunately, I watched this movie way before I heard the song I'm So Sorry. I loved Imagine Dragons, but for some reason that song I'd never heard. So when they came down to South Africa in Feb last year, I was so excited when I heard that, because I was like, it sounds a bit like Kai's theme. And then as soon as he started singing, he was like, a son of a stepfather. I was like, holy shit, it is his theme. And then I go and I was like, oh my god, Kai's theme is based off the song. That is so awesome. Because, oh man, I love Kai's theme. It's so good. But yeah, it was very fitting, and not only that, of course, along with the other villains, Kai did have a signature color, which was green. Tai Lung had blue, Lord Shen had red, Kai was green. The Chameleon didn't really have a color. You know, the people who made Kung Fu Panda 4 just didn't care about the previous movies. There was no continuity. Kai shouldn't even be back, because at the end of Kung Fu Panda 3, his spirit gets destroyed, okay? He dies in the spirit realm. You cannot come back from that. He is literally deader than dead, okay? People say deader than dead just to emphasize how dead something is, but Kai literally is deader than dead. You cannot get more dead than that. So, yeah. Kai was just an awesome villain, and really is like the, how should I say it? The perfect example of a villain who just wants power. You know, there's no like insane deep meaning as to why he wants it. He just wants it for the sake of having power and strength and control. The Chameleon, we don't get any of that. She's literally just, oh, they said I was too short to learn Kung Fu, so now I'm gonna take over all of China. That's literally all it was. She was an absolutely terrible villain. So shallow. There was no depth to her character at all. And yeah, just absolute crap. And it really is just gonna make people who didn't like Kai appreciate him even more, because like I said, they are very similar characters. One just has more depth and, well, character than the other. So yeah, that is just kind of, I don't even really know what to call this, like, why the Chameleon is the worst villain. Yeah, sure, that's a good title. But yeah, please let me know what you think of each of the Kung Fu Panda villains. Rank them from your least favorite to your favorite. I always love it when people do that. Mainly for those top two, you know, because I always see people switch Tai Lung and Lord Shen. And, you know, to be honest with you, while it's Lord Shen for me by a landslide, I can 100% understand people who put Tai Lung at number 1. He is a fantastic villain and really is the opposite of Po, the exact opposite. So yeah, I love it. Please let me know your thoughts on all the villains, hell, even the movies, and what did you think of the Chameleon specifically? So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.